stuff.
I feel like I was a little bit self-aware enough to know that fame could negatively impact my ego. For example, like I feel like maybe a lot of people, they got a lot of confidence after being famous or whatever, or clout or money. I was always kind of like cocky. So I knew like I wouldn't be able to handle fame in that respect. And I've seen, like I've watched a lot of internet. I've studied people. I've seen people like FouseyTube that I used to watch like lose his mind many times over.
Was he one of your first YouTube heroes?
Nah, Mr. Shy City.
Who's that?
He's like OG YouTube, like this black dude in Chicago. He was just hilarious. He would show cameras like on the other side. So he would show like his perspective and he would just crack a bunch of jokes. He's OG YouTube. We're talking like the same days as Philip DeFranco,
Right.
Timothy De La Ghetto. He was that era.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because Fousey actually did play an important role for me because he was like one of the first vloggers that I ever saw.
Yeah.
And I realized like, oh, this guy is losing his mind. He's not stable. He's having a fucking breakdown on camera. People are watching him cry and just like get into these crazy like bouts with depression, and like, you know, he gets super fat and then he loses 50 pounds and he's super skinny, and it's just like he's just bouncing around. He's like so blatantly unhappy. And I remember like sitting at home watching it thinking like, I have my life together like a million times more than this fucking dude. But, you know, and I thought it was so badass and so crazy that he was paying 15 grand a month for his apartment.
I remember it was like this big house. It had like 4 bedrooms. I was like, bro, you live by yourself.
But it was like a high-rise apartment type thing. Yeah,
Yes.
where like he could have got, like, for that amount of money, you can get a sick-ass place in the valley where you have a backyard and a pool and you could get fresh air and all this shit. And instead he's just in this like glass chamber.
Yeah, I remember because I used to watch his vlogs every day because it was like a story. You
I
would see him
watched it
gain weight.
to try to figure out how the fuck this was possible. That's what I was trying to figure out in my head. And then to actually kind of be part of the eventual dissolution of everything that was going on by going to FouseyCon, which he was not at, and documenting it.
That was insane. I remember watching that and the live stream. He was on a live stream with you guys, kind of going crazy about that too.
When he showed up and screamed in fucking Sam Pepper's face.
Yeah.
That was the
Damn.
best.
That brings back. I mean, it's crazy how Ice Poseidon revived Sam Pepper's career at that point in time. That was a whole nother era of the internet.
Sam Pepper managed to like revive his career a couple times, but I feel like he sort of like dirtied his name to such an extent with all the crypto stuff and the NFTs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that's like going to be hard for them to reestablish their fan base because they just became NFT guys for
I
a
feel
while.
like certain people just get away with it. Like Logan Paul he just got away with it.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez, I feel like any rapper just gets away with it.
A lot, yeah. I mean,
Tory Lanez had this coin that he was pushing like crazy. I talked about it a bunch of times, that Boost coin.
Yep.
And that thing is disappeared.
Even the 6ix9ine shit. He's like biggest rapper out there. Well, not the biggest rapper. He's a huge name. He puts out a fucking blatant scam crypto thing. And that's not even to say anything about the Gene shit, which I'm sure that storyline is still unfolding. But I mean, yeah, like even like Uzi at one point had a story up about some coin. And I heard that he got paid like $1 million and he deleted it right away.
It was like Eternal Demons or something like that.
But the people who got in early, I'm sure Soulja Boy made millions of dollars off NFT promotion.
Lil Xan was one of the earliest on that wave.
Really?
Yeah. He was the first Twitter that I saw that his feed was just straight NFT posts. I was like, what the hell is... No, it wasn't. It was before NFTs. It was coin posts.
Yeah.
So it was a bunch of different shit coins or whatever. Can we curse on here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. It was a bunch of different shit coins, and I was like, what the hell is this? This guy's whole feed is just full of this.
Right.
And then a bunch of rappers started hopping on it, and then it was like, you know, Lil Yachty and all of these other rappers.
Right.
And I feel like rappers get more leeway to get away with this shit.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they're not... I feel like people are like, yo, there's more of a get that bag mentality within hip-hop.
Yeah.
Whereas other genres, they may perhaps...
There's a lot of
hold them accountable
casual
more.
fans in rap. Like, I'm going to compare subculture-wise. I have a friend who is a poker pro, and it's like the fans of poker tend to be very smart, very analytical, and they can see through the bullshit, right? So at one point, he has a sponsor, and the sponsor basically has him post about slots, you know, like in the casino. It's like an online slots thing, whatever. He posts about it. It's like a unanimous negative reaction from his fan base because the fan base on average knows that slots are bullshit, it's a scam, and that it's a totally idiotic thing to put money into, and that it's a disingenuous co-sign because he's not the kind of guy who would ever spend his time playing slots, right? Whereas in rap, it's like the average, like Lil Uzi Vert has potentially enough fans that some percentage of them could move the needle crypto-wise. But it's also like, I mean, how many casual fans are taking the time to like put money into a Coinbase so that they can buy some? And isn't it more complicated than that with a lot of these shit coins because they're not listed on the main exchanges?
It's a pain in the ass.
It is insane to think that this was a real thing. The NFT thing, it's just hard to believe that so many people made so much money. I was on the phone with Waka Flocka, him telling me, he goes, you are going to make so much money off NFTs that you're not even going to have to do this podcast shit anymore. And I remember just thinking like, what are you talking about? And sure enough, I did not make any significant amount of money off it.
You had just bought one, right?
I bought a CryptoPunk.
Okay.
Which has lost some value since we bought it,
but it hasn't like tanked like crazy, has it?
Nah, I think the CryptoPunks and like the Bored Apes, I guess, there's like a few of them that are still holding some decent value.
When it comes to poker, are they more like, hey, this is our craft, don't package us in with people that are doing gambling and slots and roulette? Or is it they have no issue being kind of conflated? Because it feels like a different game. I'm not too up on poker at all.
Well, poker is very much like a game of strategy. There's a lot of luck involved in it, but it's a lot of skill involved in it, you know? And it's like the people who play it, they emphasize they attempt to minimize the gambling aspect and try to emphasize the skill factor, you know? So when they see him doing an ad for the slots thing and it's just obvious that he doesn't actually do this, but I mean at the same time that's hypocritical kind of, because not hypocritical, but it's kind of like a silly standard to hold him to, because it's like clearly he's posting about this bullshit for money, right? Like when I do the ads on this podcast, nobody thinks I'm fucking sports betting, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, some people might think that, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't. You know, it's cat's out of the bag. Like I do ads for shit that I don't use. Like who the fuck cares? It's just like I feel like my audience gets it. And that's kind of, like I heard Ice Poseidon make that same argument with why he's taking all this money to do these crypto scams or whatever. Is like, you know, it's like, are you really that fucking stupid? You really like?
I feel like that's different though, because you're not doing a no jumper coin. Like for example, you're like, hey, there's a sports betting company, they sponsor me. You're not saying, hey, this is our brand, this is what you guys watch, this is what you guys mess with, and we're doing a coin. And then you're like, hey guys, you should have known better.
Yeah, because there's a big difference, and this is something I realized with Selena Powell. There's a big difference between doing something like me having her on the show a bunch of times over the years. It was never that controversial. Then I like gave her own show and let her do a couple episodes, and that was what was really controversial. And I feel like same thing. I could promote 50 fucking scam coins on here, and it's not going to be that big a deal. It'd be kind of a big deal now because people actually get it, you know? But if we like rewind the clock 2 years, I could do 50 fucking shitcoin promotions and then just kind of stop doing it and people will kind of move on, whatever. But meanwhile, if I do one no jumper coin and it's bullshit, I'm being held directly responsible for sure.
All right, people, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. You know we're trying to hit 400,000 subscribers. So that little red button, tap it, tap in. Appreciate y'all.